Auburn seems to be in a prime spot for adding another young running back.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're dapping it up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, on the Wednesday edition of the show. Who else do we want Auburn to add via the portal? That's coming up, as well as a huge dub yesterday, I think, for Auburn edge rushers. I gave you a few names yesterday. Darrell's got another one. The case for another guy who won with the hiring of Rock Bellantoni. But Omar Mabson, the Auburn high school running back, we all know he reclassified to this class from 2026 to 2025. And we all assumed, right, that Auburn was the leader for this. When he reclassified, it sounded like he reclassified it with Auburn in mind. And Darrell, there just seems to be more and more smoke confirming that Omar Mabson will be a part of this team in 2025.
He'd be a great addition to be the fifth running back added to that room. And I think he's a guy, Zach, that would be redshirted, a redshirt candidate. And I'm not just because of his age. I mean, if you're reclassifying, sure, you're younger. 5'9", 200, which I like that size. You know, it's really down to seems like a two-team race. He visits Alabama on January 18th, official visit with Auburn on January 25th. But I think some photos have emerged on social media with Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix with an in-home with our guy Omar. So I just think you don't reclassify, unless you have the opportunity. When Chroma decided to go to where he went, and it wasn't Florida State. He's got me confused where he changed. It was Florida State, right? I think Usman Chroma went to Florida State. We thought it was going to be Georgia, and he went to LSU. Yeah, when that happened, I think it opened up the door, and you saw him reclassify soon thereafter. I mean, I can't think that's not a coincidence. It's not. Connect the dots. I like him. I like him being the fifth back in that room, and I think probably 4 of the 5 will see some snaps. He's probably the most likely to redshirt, and it's not about ability. It's just because of age. He is a high 3-star, as opposed to some of the guys that Auburn brought in this year. But I like him a lot. I think he's a powerful back for 5'9", 200.
Well, and you usually lose some of that ranking when you reclassify. I mean, that's just part of it. You're going to be a year younger than everybody else around you. But yeah, I mean, if he becomes a part of this room, which we expect that he will, Damari, Jeremiah, Darrell, Alvin, and then Omar, like, okay, yeah, I like that room. I don't know, does it replace Jarquez Hunter? I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody as good as Jarquez Hunter in this room. But I like the collection of guys. I think some of them are different and can kind of offer different things. Will that actually be used in the offense? I guess that's my question, is how much of a focal point of the offense is Auburn's running back room actually going to be? I kind of don't think it matters as much as maybe it used to at Auburn. I mean, sure, we all won an elite running back, but we saw how Hugh Freeze used Jarquez Hunter last year. You got to think the running back usage is going to go down going into this season.
I think so. First of all, you don't have to replace. You can't look at it as replacing Jarquez Hunter. You're never going to do that with one person. You're going to do it collectively. I think between the additional yards that Jackson Arnold will get running the football, I think Cobb and Austin getting more carries, and Darrell Robinson getting slotted in there, you may rush for the same amount of yards that you did last year. It's just the pieces of the pie will be broke up differently.
Yeah,
there won't be a larger ratio.
I do wonder what that pie is, right? So just looking at the running backs last year, Jarquez had 542 snaps, Damari 167, Jeremiah Cobb 82, everyone else in the room, Sean Jackson had 5, Justin Jones had 3. And so, I wonder, are you going to have a guy that has over 400 snaps, or is it going to be kind of divided? Is Damari going to be the lead guy, or are they going to be close? Damari and Jeremiah, are they going to be close? Or Darrell Robinson, whoever wins the market share of snaps and touches. is it going to be a true running back by committee like some of us thought it would be going into last season? That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think you could break it down to where, let's just say, Damari gets the lion's share, but the lion's share is not what it looked like with Jarquez Hunter. Let's just throw out 35 to 40%. And then Cobb gets 30% of the carries. And then Darrell gets, whatever the math left with that, 20%. I mean, I think that's how it'll be. I think at the end of the day, from the running back position, there will not be as many snaps taken running the football from the running back position as there was last year. I think some of those snaps are going to Jackson Arnold. Some of those attempts, not snaps, some of those attempts will go to Jackson Arnold. And I also think the passing game is going to be more efficient, thereby relying on having to use the run a little bit less.
Yeah, I'm cool with all that. And I
think it's going to hum. I think it's going to hum. And when it's humming, they're going to keep throwing it, baby. It's going to go.
Yeah, and that's like what we should hope for. That's what Hugh Freeze has done and been successful at other places. And we saw glimpses of it this past year. And it was really fun when it was working.
I mean, I have to believe that after watching you and Charlie 5 yesterday on more 5-hour energy than I've ever seen in my life. I think that you guys consumed together.
We were booging for sure.
I have to step up my game and boog too and get excited. And so I'm thinking the passing game is going to hum. And while it's working, they're going to keep going with it. So that's my take on that.
Did you watch WWE Monday night?
So I'm just going to say this.
Yeah.
I will never say, don't ever make fun of me or throw shade at me for liking hockey again when you're talking about watching something that's make-believe and choreographed.
I never made fun of you for liking hockey.
You said, I got some game time. You go, hockey? They play that? That's a sport? That's what you said.
Okay.
Okay, it's a
sport.
Not
making fun of.
But that's the key thing.
I never said it wasn't a sport. No, I never said that.
It's real. It's not fake. It's not choreographed. It's not acted. So hockey, don't throw shade at my hockey anymore after you watching somebody get thrown through a table, for the love of God.
Electric, though. Electric, nonetheless.
Can I answer mine, too? I want Alex McPherson to be the guy that throws me through the table because I think that I would stay on the ground.
Okay.
Just because of a kicker. That's it. Yeah.
Got it. So Omar Mabson is expected to pick the Auburn Tigers. He said his official visit, all of that stuff seems to be humming in the right direction, to the point where, like, you and I have heard some rumblings of, like, it's as close to a done deal as it possibly could be, which is exactly what you want to see. And it's also kind of fun because there's going to be a little bit of drama on signing day, which never happens anymore. It's all done, by the end of, the early signing period. So I guess we had a little bit with Ryan Williams last year. Like, there were some folks holding on hope or whatever, but it will be fun to kind of pick up a win on signing, like the original signing day, whatever you want to call it.
Don't forget, Jeremiah Cobb signed on the original signing day 2 years ago. He waited until February.
Yeah.
Even though Auburn,
You're right.
He was committed, but until you put pen to paper, and he did that because Montgomery Catholics likes to have their presentation or their ceremony with everybody together.
But wasn't there some drama of, like, well, he signed, but he, like, publicly signed on that day? Like, I think there was some
right.
Like, we thought that he signed the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
I kind of forgot all about that too. But yeah, like, that one wasn't really up in the air. And we'll see if does Omar publicly commit before signing day. Like, I kind of hope he doesn't. I kind of think it'd be fun just to kind of have that win on signing day, just to kind of, let's stretch out the dubs, baby. Let's stretch out the dubs throughout the off season. There were some dubs won yesterday, Darrell. I don't think there's any question about it. And I want to jump more into who really benefits from Rock Bellantoni's return to the Auburn Tigers as edge coach. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Rocket Money. It's the new year, Darrell, and we all have goals. And a very common goal is being better with your money going into 2025. And a key way to do this is to download the Rocket Money app or go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon, give them your info, and they're going to tell you all of the subscriptions that are on this auto pay, and you're going to be blown away by how many things you're still paying for and not using.
You want to hear something really ironic, and this is hand to God truth.
Yes.
When we were talking 3 minutes ago, on my monitor, I got an email notification from Rocket Money.
Oh, they find something? They flag something for you?
I thought you could hear it through the speakers with the little, noise that an email, like the ding.
Okay, gotcha.
And I looked down and I saw I had an email from Rocket Money while we were getting ready to. That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty timely.
Yeah. And so Darrell and I both use Rocket Money. We suggest that you do too. It's super easy to use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. And in case you missed it, whether it's on this YouTube channel or this audio feed, go to the previous episode. You'll hear me and Darrell reacting to last night's Auburn basketball action if you missed that. It was very late, so we don't blame you. Darrell, to me, I love the hiring of Rock Bellantoni. I love the reunion. I think it's a fantastic addition to this staff, one of the bright spots of the previous regime. Before I ask you a question that I answered on yesterday's show, because I want to get your answer, your general thoughts on Rock coming back.
I like it for two reasons. Number one, he got fired this year from Florida Atlantic on November 13th. Herman tried to make him the scapegoat.
Yeah.
And when Herman got fired a week later, a bunch of players, boosters, and other staff members went to the interim coach and said, "Get Rock back. We want him back." Recruits that had committed to Florida Atlantic said that they didn't want to see him go, and so they hired him back. I think that speaks volumes when a guy gets let go and then gets brought back 2 weeks later because the players, staff, and recruits insist that he does. That in itself is very, very important. Agreed. I also went back and looked at some of his milestones, his accomplishments, his accolades. I didn't realize that he had won Recruiter of the Year in Conference USA a few years ago. And so
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I mean, that's important. He's a really dynamic recruiter. I know he was one of those guys while he was here that people loved. Players loved him. And then you see it on X now. Some former players and some current players are coming back on there saying, "Welcome back, Rock." And so I love that. I think he's a good recruiter. I think he's a good person to have with the players. Now, what does it mean, technique? The dude that plays for the Cincinnati Bengals, Hendrickson, who's a beast. He coached him at Florida. He was his coach. He coached him to be the second leading sack getter in the country that year. Rock was his coach. So I think that there's proof in the pudding. There's a resume there. And on top of that, he's just somebody that really is a glue guy that players love. You can be a good guy and you can be good with players and good with relationships, but if you can't coach and can't recruit, who cares? I think he checks all three boxes.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, you're not going to be able to be a part of Hugh Freeze's staff and not be able to recruit. But so many Auburn fans, the buzzword is development, player development. Well, this guy's got a proven track record, not just in general, but literally at Auburn, at arguably for a coaching staff that was tougher to develop players maybe than others. But I mean, you look at what Derek Hall was able to do his last year here.
Yep.
Eku Leota, like how good actually was Eku Leota? Well, Rock Bellantoni made it look pretty solid where he got a Senior Bowl invite and we got to, kind of see what he was able to do there. So there's a lot to like about Rock. So on yesterday's bonus show that I did with Ben Taylor of the Auburn Network and Auburn O'Blacko this morning, I shared two guys that I thought really benefited, were maybe the key winners of him getting hired. And I said, Jared Smith, as a true freshman, I don't think Rock is going anywhere. I can't imagine him like leaving for a DC gig again. I think this is going to be kind of his spot as long as Hugh Freeze will have him. That's the vibe I get. Jared Smith, if he's here 3 years under Rock, I think he's going to be very, very good with his frame. And if he's able to kind of be used the way what Derek was when he was here. Then the other was Kieron Crawford. Similar build, long, and still kind of raw. I mean, hasn't been playing football that long. That was a big talking point when we added Kieron last offseason from Arkansas State because he waited so long in high school to play football. I think there's still a lot of coaching that can be done as far as his development. So I say Kieron Crawford and Jared Smith were kind of the winners of Rock getting hired, but you have a different name.
And I'm going to say the name right this time. I'm going to say not right. I'm going to do the whole deal. Chris Kelly Murray. Chris Kelly Murray. I love saying that. Here's why. Rock has a history of taking group of 5 kids and putting them in the league. Putting them in the league. If you go and you look under one of his bios, it's got a list of NFL players that he directly coached. Wasn't not that he was on the staff, was their coach. And there's a lot of kids that came from Buffalo and Florida Atlantic and some of these group of 5 schools that he was able to put in the NFL and bring to another level. Well, what better than Chris Murray, a guy coming from Sam Houston State, his first year at Auburn. He has a knack for working for those kids, working with the kids that come from smaller schools and getting them to play at a high level. He also has a knack, like you said, with Derek Hall and Echo Leota. So I love that versatility that he can coach the kids that are Power 4 and the Power 5 kid and the group of 5 kids and get them on to the next level. That's why I think Murray, especially Murray transitioning to his first year at Auburn, they kind of coming together with a clean slate. And I like that. I think it's going to be beneficial for him.
Yeah, I don't see a downside to Rock Bellantoni coming back. He's got some special teams history. You think there's any way he gets some of that action? What do you think? What do you think?
I hope
so too.
First of all, I
haven't really seen that anywhere, but I hope.
Yeah, I had to be careful how I answer that question. And I love that his real name is Rocco. We call him Rock, but Rocco, you got to love Rocco, baby. That's a great name.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it? You just wanted to add that?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought you were going somewhere with that. Okay, yeah, no, for sure.
No, I love it. I mean, I went with the really hardcore facts, but yeah, I love the name. I love that he's Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco definitely passes the vibe test.
It does.
There's no question. Talk about vibes and boog. Rocco, are you kidding me?
Look, if we empty the sidelines, give me a Rocco to go out there with. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right? If we clear the sidelines, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Empty the benches.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. What else can Auburn do during this transfer portal window? That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. And I guess I shouldn't say transfer portal window. The transfer portal window is closed with the exception of a few teams. But the cycle, I guess, is portal cycle is probably the more accurate verbiage.
I think the most obvious one that still left to add is the one no one's talking about, and that's the 4th quarterback. It's a necessity. I don't care who it is, plug in the blank or where you get them. JUCO, backup group of 5, already an option on campus that's quit football a year ago, whatever. Get somebody in there.
What was that?
That
was weirdly specific.
Well, that's been out there. I mean, it's no secret that Tanner Bailey is a name that's been bantied about, played at South Carolina, is an Auburn student. Everybody thought when he came and transferred to Auburn last year, it was going to be to play football, and it wasn't. He just came to be a student, but he may be a viable option to go kick the tires on and see if he wants to come back and play and be the 4th quarterback.
Yeah.
Somebody needs
practice.
Yeah.
Hang out.
Somebody needs to be, because you're not going into the spring, Zach, with 2 quarterbacks. You're not. You can't. With Daniels graduating from Stanford in the spring, you got to have at least 3 quarterbacks, or else they'll be calling me and you. I'll take some snaps.
What would that look like?
Ugly.
Yeah. Hopefully Tanner Bailey could do it.
Not 30 years ago, I could sling it, but not now. But anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean that was a rumor pretty early on. So
but I think a 4th quarterback is more high priority. I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
People are like, what?
It's like literally anybody that could throw a ball. Like you're not coming to play. Like we're talking about practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you better have 3 going into the spring. And that's why I think it's important. It's being undervalued. And I think
they will have 3 going into the spring.
You're right. No, they won't.
Who's not here?
Daniels.
Oh, I don't know if I knew that.
He's graduating, like I said, in the spring from Stanford.
I see.
So he's not going to give up the opportunity to graduate from Stanford to come to Auburn in the spring when he graduates from Stanford in the spring.
It's just so puzzling why Walker left, man.
So that's what I'm saying. You got two right now. You got
sense.
Deuce Knight and Jackson Arnold. That's your quarterback room going into the spring.
But man, is the ceiling high with those two guys.
Oh, I can't wait to watch A-Day. It's going to be electric.
Yeah, it is.
Because they're both going to play a lot. Whoever the third quarterback is, Deuce and Jackson are going to get
That's what's so strange. It's like y'all had a shot to like get some real reps, but whatever. All right. Very odd portal window for Auburn quarterbacks for sure. All right. How can people check out everything you've got going on?
Follow me on X, DAP6410, Instagram, Darrell Dap, Instagram. I'm with you on Wednesdays and Fridays after basketball games.
Yes.
And then we've started this nice little tradition on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. We go live, you, me, Kyle Rush, little barn action.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been a good time. So we do that on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock as well.
Yes. Hey, please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.